Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Patient Convert podcast. I am your co-host, Justin Knott, and I am very excited to reintroduce the other co-host, Kelley Knott. Welcome back, Kelley. I'm so excited to not do podcasts by myself anymore.
Yeah, thanks. That was really weird. I went to sit down and do this podcast with Justin. He just warned me, considering that I've been doing the last podcast by myself, I'm going to need to do the intro on this one. And that was a really weird feeling, but I'm happy to be back.
Yeah, well, it's been 2.5+ years. I'm trying to think. You were working. So we found out you're having a baby in late March of 2020. So about 2.5 weeks into the national pandemic shutdown. And pretty quickly after that, you took a turn for the worse in terms of feeling bad. And that was kind of all she wrote. We kind of assumed that you'd be able to work at least like 6 to 8 months during the pregnancy, at least at some level, to just stay engaged. And then
I did in the beginning. We were working.
It's been a little over 2 years. Yeah, about 2.5 years.
Yeah. And I was working, and we had planned, at least in the future, what it would look like when I was pregnant and what work would look like. And those first, we said, I think 6 months until I got back to work, which is just so laughable right now, is how much you can plan, but you can't predict. So I'm happy to be back today. I'm happy to discuss with Justin. But when he's talking about the pregnancy, it was really rough because it was COVID, which is crazy. And then we're in healthcare, adding to this craziness. And I ended up having a really bad case of hyperemesis. And it completely halted all of our progress as far as me working or my plans to get prepared before I went on maternity leave. For any of you that don't know what that is, it's vomiting throughout your entire pregnancy, but it's not the kind of vomiting where you kind of feel bad and you go to the bathroom and you vomit. I was watching an Amy Schumer stand up and she called it exorcist vomiting. And that's exactly what it is. It is like the worst flu you've had and you vomit up to 20 times a day. It's very scary. It's mentally and physically exhausting. And it can be dangerous for the mother, not as dangerous for the baby. Surprisingly, they're so resilient. But that really knocked me off working with Entropy more and building content, and it affected us too, just because Justin, as my support and my partner, he really had to step up. I mean, it was all on him to create this environment that we could work together.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, I mean, I can attest to it, seeing it firsthand, just how sick you really were and not knowing about it prior to us going on that journey. And it was a lot, even as a second party witness to it. I've seen, without TMI, I've seen puke in about every vessel that you can imagine, in cars and containers that we had lying around, all kinds of stuff.
You have to puke, and it doesn't matter who's around or what's going on. I mean, it's such a sudden, painful nausea that you have to puke where you can puke. And sometimes it was outside, sometimes it was in front of people, sometimes it was in whatever vessel I could get to quickest. And that really affected my work, because a lot of what I do as a marketer is I'm on lives and I'm on calls and I do in-person training and workshops. I'm a contracted speaker and I have partnerships and affiliations and I'm sponsored. And so all these things are contracts that I have to be physically present for, and content that needs me. And that was the hardest part, I think, for both of us, was I had to just start saying no. No more yeses, all no.
Yeah, for sure. And that's when we knew there was going to be a really big shift in terms of who was going to do what, and even what the journey was going to look like in terms of your online training course, Physician Liaison University, and all of that stuff. So with all of that said, I think fast forwarding a little bit to the end of that journey and the birth of our little girl, Addie, and how fun of a journey that's been. But obviously you made a decision at that point to kind of continue to step back and raise Addie. And now, as she's closing in on 2 years old, which has gone by so fast, it's been a crazy, wild journey, but it's really exciting now to have you back and see you back. But talk a little bit about what the journey, becoming a mom and raising Addie and all that stuff, that's gotten you and I doing this podcast now.
Yeah. So Justin talked to me more about doing this podcast and why we were doing this. To be clear, I did work a little bit when I was pregnant and when I first had the baby. It just was going from 5 to 7 days a week to half a day, just trying to get stuff done. And he's being humble during this journey. When I had Addie, I'm no longer sick anymore, but now I'm in a world that I'm totally out of my element. I was a first time mom and really hit with postpartum, I think, harder than I ever thought I could be. And the struggle between postpartum and all the self doubt that you are consumed by and responsibilities and not understanding the new body you're in, the new hormones you're developing, the no sleep, and my number one job being the best mom and protecting her. It almost made me dislike work and feel like this is not a priority for me anymore. And that's because I wasn't in a great headspace. So for any moms out there, I know getting back to work, sometimes I feel like even though it was your career, your passion, there's this new role that it plays that takes you away from your biggest job. And that's to be a mom. And that's kind of where my head was at. And it was rough for my team at Entropy too, because during this time away from pregnancy, it was all about creating systems and processes and workflows to assist me in what I did to make it more efficient and effective, led by my amazing husband. So that was rough after Addie, and getting back to work after 3 months was not happening.
Yeah, for sure. But I mean, even learning to work, even myself learning to work with Addie in the house, having a remote business that we've always had a remote business. So COVID actually just kind of normalized and legitimized that's for us in terms of the infrastructure of our business. Because for a while, it was a weird foreign concept that we didn't have like a brick and mortar office that people worked at and everything. But even working here with her and wanting to spend that time with her, especially as they develop in that first like year, they develop so quickly. So they go from like crawling to walking to talking and all of that stuff in a matter literally of months. So that was a huge transition for me too. But I know also on my end, it was a huge, I think, responsibility shift that occurred after she was born for sure, in terms of growing the businesses and what we wanted out of it and what we wanted to establish for her and what we wanted to be able to provide for her as she was growing up, which was a huge overnight motivator for me that really helped pour in and I think refocus me on what we were doing for the business while you were away and now that you're back as well, which has been really exciting. I mean, we've been able to experience some really tremendous growth, and that's led to a lot of exciting things that we'll talk about while we're on the podcast that have developed during the time that you're away and now that you're back, and helping grow on top of all the changes that have happened with your course and the whole physician liaison environment. Well, I'd love to hear, as you are coming back, the things that you are most excited about, and then maybe on the other side, the things that you're maybe struggling with as you're coming back after being out for 2.5 years.
I'm most excited about getting to do what I love and working with hospitals and healthcare and networks. But before I left, one of the biggest things is I stepped down as CEO at Entropy, and I thought I had all these things for my career path. So what makes me more excited now was actually what I thought was so heartbreaking at the time ended up being the best thing professionally for both of us. And I'm excited that now I get to step into a role where I get to focus more on what I love to do when it comes to marketing. So I'm excited about building new content. I'm excited about working with our team here at Entropy. I'm excited with networking. What I dislike the most is relearning and essentially my entire business. As far as when I left, systems and processes were different. And now we have this incredible infrastructure and team that supports me in everything that I do. So I have to almost be this entrepreneur all over again and make sure I'm being a good leader and be efficient. And it's my least favorite thing to do, but I have to learn the whole new systems, all the workflows, all the resources we use, so that when I'm communicating with my team and I need support and I need things executed, that I'm playing ball just like everybody else. So I'm looking least forward to the continuation of learning all these new softwares, but I know I'm just so excited to see what's next and how this is going to change our careers and really work together, I think, even better than ever before, honestly.
And I think the other side of it too is, even as we were looking at daycares and everything and going through a long process, especially during COVID, trying to hire a nanny is that transition from being solo mom and now going back to work too, because I know that was difficult for me. So I know that'll probably be a transition period for you as well, as kind of balancing what you want to do to fill your cup up outside of Addie, but also being away from Addie too.
Yeah, that is the biggest struggle, as my husband knows, that I've been the most emotional about. is I'm excited to get back to work and I'm excited to put my content out there, but I am a constant roller coaster if it is working or not, as far as, am I a good enough mom to do this? Am I a good enough boss to do this? And all this self-doubt creeped in that I hadn't had before. So yeah. So yesterday, 2 days ago, our nanny told us she was leaving us because she has an amazing opportunity that I just couldn't imagine her passing up. Obviously, she was part of a 6-month nanny search. We had 2 nannies that didn't work out. So just as I wrote an article about being back in the business, I lost my nanny again. So why I bring that up is because there is this up and down roller coaster of when I'm at work, if I should be at work, and when I'm home, if I should be working. But then there's also this, when I used to work, I just used to clock in and clock out and do what I needed to do, take the calls I needed to take, make the content I wanted. And now I am completely reliable on absolutely everybody else. If my nanny cancels, if my childcare cancels, if the baby gets sick, if the studio is taken, I have to rely on everybody else if I want to go to work. And that has been a really hard transition that we're still kind of working through. Luckily, we're still making steps now. We have daycare as our next option, and I think she's going to do amazing. And I'm hoping that starts a whole new journey of kind of the independence of her just kind of growing up from a baby into a toddler, and what that will do for me as a mom. Am I still going to feel guilty? Am I going to ever get over this? I'm not sure.
Yeah, but that I think another exciting benefit too is, like you said, is relearning everything. Is things look fortunately totally different in terms of the agency and even the people that you get to collaborate with now with coming back. I mean, our team's grown by almost 9 W-2s just in the last 12 months alone. And so that gives a lot more collaborative effort and a lot more teamwork and things that are really exciting in terms of what you do best from a marketing standpoint and a content creation standpoint, and connecting with people on LinkedIn and all that stuff. So I'm really excited now that we've got even a larger crew that are really excited to get at it and work and learn from you is going to be really exciting as well.
And that's a really good point, because I have to be honest in this podcast as we talk about this. I could not do what I do without you and without the team at Entropy and KelleyKnott.com and Physician Liaison University, because that's the key to my success during the limited time I had to work while I was out. Is it wasn't just me and these team members who just really stepped up and got creative and got supportive, delivered ways for me to work efficiently and effectively. And now when I get to go to work, I get to love what I do because I'm not the only one doing it. I'm supported by this amazing team. And in return, we're growing together. It's an incredible accelerate button that I'm blessed and thankful for, but definitely something that I think I couldn't have even dreamed of. We had such an amazing year and to more years to come. But I want to say in this podcast that any leader, any entrepreneur, any marketer out there, we can be so much of the talent, and it can be hard to structure teams, but that's part of the entrepreneur journey. And without a team that supports you, that adds value, creates new processes, and helps train you even as the leader, is the team that's going to help you get to that finish line. And now I get to go to work, do exactly what I want to do as far as what I love to do, because I have a team that can help me execute on this and get these things done. And before, I just didn't have that confidence, and now I do. So again, it wasn't my timeline, but it was the timeline that I needed.
Well, so tell us a little bit about what the immediate future, obviously can't see down the road, but say the remainder of the year, now that you're back and working, what is your game plan in terms of the Kelley Knott brand and Physician Liaison University? What are you looking forward to kind of attacking and growing and getting back in, specifically to the physician liaison stuff? And we can kind of talk about some of the other exciting stuff that's going on as well.
Well, the truth is, physician liaison marketing is really taking a new turn. We had a big drop off during COVID, and now it's time to get back out there. So Physician Liaison University is going to get a little bit of an update. We're going to add new modules, new webinars, new content. I'm also really excited to be working with some of the largest healthcare organizations across the country and new partnerships and value adds. We're going to be adding new courses, which is really exciting because I didn't know when I was going to get to do this. And I've have new tools that we've developed here in Entropy and Capture MD to help further train healthcare marketers and liaisons. So what's coming up next for me is more content. It's more of me, and I'm excited I finally get to say that. It's more webinars, it's more training, it's more courses, it's more workshops, it's more speaking, and it's a whole lot more information to add value to my clients and my students and whoever I work with. So
yeah, so let's talk. You mentioned a little bit because you actually have been using the tool, which we've been using for a little while, and we just went, I guess, officially live with a new tool called Capture MD, and like launched the website and everything as its own standalone SaaS-based product that we're really, really stoked about. And what it's been fun, even watching you use it because of how much content that you create, is the ability to really quickly knock out a lot of video content at scale. And it was really designed around the premise that physicians are really the lifeblood of engaged social content that patients want to consume, but they also have probably the most limited time available to them to create that content. So how do we create something that's really frictionless and really simple for a physician to sit down on a phone or on a computer, knock a video out that's got music, an animated logo intro? It can automatically go on any social platform or on your website and get them involved in the content creation process, because that is so critical. And then also have a conduit to easily send patients a link that they can click and leave video testimonials. And again, it's exciting to watch how you have, even early on, been able to utilize and adapt that tool to now really crank up more and more LinkedIn content that we're really excited about. So I'm really looking forward to having you back and creating more content, especially on LinkedIn, or on the front end of getting involved in the content creator program that they've launched. And so what else you got for us? What else do you think you see on the horizon in the next few months for Kelley?
What's on the horizon for the next few months is more support and more training. Now that I'm building this content, I'm going to be developing really unique partnerships to provide this value. But most exciting is these new courses really devoted to physician liaisons and new courses devoted to healthcare marketers. More education and tools to better help those out there. And these courses are so great because it's easy to digest. And that's kind of my whole idea with content. Even if you watch my videos or follow anything that I do, it's about providing a huge value so people walk away either feeling that aha moment, that they have an action plan, or that they can totally relate, and doing it in a certain amount of time that they feel that they have the freedom and liberty to learn and then apply it. So I think what's new for Kelley Knott is you're going to see a whole lot more of my content, me speaking, partnerships, webinars. And then, of course, the most exciting part is releasing these courses that's affordable and accessible and easy to learn for healthcare marketers and physician liaisons alike. So we're going to break that burden in healthcare. We're going to let people know how they can apply their marketing, and we're going to teach physician liaisons what they can do to succeed.
Well, we are so excited to have you back across the board, and have you as my co-host on the podcast. We're going to really focus a lot on ramping that back up, and we have some really, really great shows, really great guests lined up for the remainder of the year. So again, thank you everybody for listening to me, because I know I'm not as exciting to listen to as Kelley is. So now we've got her back to help me co-host the podcast. And any last thoughts or anything before we sign off?
Yeah, I want to say thanks again to my entire network who supported me, to my partners and affiliates who completely encouraged me to take my time and help me work with them. And most importantly, to my team, who just stepped up and stepped in so that we could move forward and actually created a path so that I can do what I do even better than I did before and succeed even further. So without the listeners, without the followers, without the students and the clients, none of this is worth it. And so you guys make it worth it every single day that I get to connect and grow with you guys as well. So thank you is my last note to all of you. Thanks for listening to our story. It really means a lot.
Well, from me first, I love you, and so does Addie, and so does everybody else out there that's been supporting you. So we're excited to see what's next in your journey. And as we wrap, don't forget to reach out and connect with Kelley on LinkedIn as we're creating a lot more content. Go to entropy.com, NTREPY. That's our healthcare marketing agency. And make sure you subscribe to the podcast, Patient Convert Podcast. And thank you for listening. And go check out our new SaaS-based video creation product that I mentioned on the show today. That's Capture MD as in medical doctor, capturemd.io. You can also find it on the Entropy website too. Go check it out. Free 14-day trial. You can sign up for, take it for a spin, create unlimited video, connect your YouTube, all that exciting stuff, and would love some feedback. I continue to scale that up. Thank you again for listening to the show, and we will see you on the next episode.
Thank you for listening to today's latest episode of the Patient Convert podcast. Don't forget to subscribe and review on your favorite podcast platform. We are on Apple, iTunes, Google, Stitcher, and Spotify, or you can sign up to receive the latest episode via email. Just check it out on my agency website or my personal website. And if you are looking for more amazing healthcare marketing information or just to engage, check us out at entropy.com. And for any of my amazing physician liaisons out there interested in growing their physician referrals or learning the strategies that it takes to build highly engaged physician referral networks, check out my website, kelleyknott.com, where I have free webinars, free downloads, and of course, my online physician liaison training course, Physician Liaison University. And as always, I'm a huge believer in connecting, engaging, and supporting one another. And the best way we can do that is networking. And I always connect with you guys on social media. And one of my biggest social media platforms is LinkedIn. So feel free to connect with me there on LinkedIn or Instagram or Twitter at Kelley Knott. And thank you guys again for listening to the Patient Convert podcast with your host, Kelley Knott.